Hi, welcome to another edition of Channel Partners TV, or as we call CPTV. I am Dave Raffo of Channel Partners and the MSP Summit. And I'm here today with Tresca Rightsell, who is the Channel Account Manager at Bitwarden, which is an open source password manager. Thanks for joining me, Tresca.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for having me.
So, when an MSP manages security for a client, every client, every company has staffing changes, right? People are leaving, changing roles. So, what tools or, what capability does Bitwarden give an MSP to handle those moments when people change and to prove that the environment is still healthy afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we can all relate or have had a time when something like this has happened to us. A few years ago, I met with a partner who had a customer that had let go of his web development guy, the web hosting. This web development guy had credentials, obviously, to their website, and he was not happy about the departure. He wiped out this customer's
Eesh.
website. And while things were sorted out through the legal system, this event still impacted the customer's web presence and obviously his business for a few weeks while things got spun up again. And so I'm not a fan of fear based selling, but I am a fan of being prepared. And this is one of the most common real world scenarios that our partners deal with. And it's also one of the highest risk moments for your customers. When someone leaves an organization, you as the managed service provider need to know immediately what that person had access to. And that's not just their email password, but every credential that they touched. Bitwarden's member access report gives admins the visibility in one place so that nothing gets missed during this offboarding process. And beyond that single moment, we also have event logs so an MSP can see the full history of what's happened in an account, who accessed what, when, and from where. And my favorite feature, it's enforcing organization ownership of credentials. With centralized organization ownership, the ownership belongs to the company vault. So no single user holds the keys. The owner and admin, or of course, you as a partner acting as an owner and admin, will have continuity of control. This provides advantages such as complete reporting, easy item management, and most of all, the streamlined succession or offboarding of employees. You can immediately reassign access, manage the environment, but also demonstrate that clear chain of custody without any direct disruption to your end users. So, had this customer I just spoke about earlier had these resources available to them, they could have immediately addressed these access points. And so, needless to say, this customer did move forward with Bitwarden during this immediate aftermath.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I don't think
Yeah.
it's fear mongering because that's something that almost anybody could relate to, right?
Yeah.
You lose a disgruntled employee, and if there's somebody who has access to all your web control, you're in trouble.
Yes. Yes.
So MSPs frequently manage security in a co-managed environment, right?
Mhm.
So in those cases, the client's IT team still has a hand in things. So, how does Bitwarden's model flex to fit those customers' needs?
Yeah. There's really lots of areas for this, and customers will turn to you as the managed service provider for advice and oversight. Co-managed environments are really about permissions and delegation, and that's where Bitwarden's vault structure supports your needs. A client's internal IT team can hold their own admin rights and, of course, managing inside their organization, while you, as the MSP, still sit above it all with that provider level oversight through our provider portal. This isn't an either or setup where the MSP runs everything or the client runs everything. You can split however that relationship works. I think of, different industries that our partners serve. Just this morning, I met with a partner who was working through an audit process with a new customer that aligns to ISO 27001 and the SOC 2 reporting. We're all familiar with this. This particular partner supports the legal, health, and financial service customers. And so they are very well versed in compliance and auditing requirements. This new customer of theirs had a huge issue making sure that all of their access controls were accounted for. And so, with Bitwarden's access intelligence reporting, the partner was able to give an auditable way to show how weak, reused, exposed passwords are identified, but most importantly, how they are remediated across the organization. And of course, how will this continue to be monitored over time? Your customers turn to you as the knowledgeable security professional, and they trust you. This type of resolution is exactly the kind of evidence that auditors want to see and exactly the kind of approach that your customers need. So every client relationship looks different, and Bitwarden is built for that flexibility. Another one to take is deployment options. Bitwarden is the only major password manager that offers self-hosting. So partners can deploy Bitwarden to their own infrastructure or, of course, to their clients and manage customers who have special data sovereignty needs. I see this a lot in like the APAC and EMEA regions, and also with customers like this partners landscape, where it's the healthcare or financial service customers that are requesting something self-hosted. And while others are on the Bitwarden cloud. So my partner can, really just customize and support how his customers need. And the overall Bitwarden sharing model matters here as well. So when teams need to share a single item, there's no need to create a duplicate of that item. Bitwarden is built on a modern architecture in the sense that items are treated as your single source of truth. Only one of them will exist, and that singular item can be tagged into multiple access points. We call them collections. So when you're managing all of these customer accounts, having those password duplicates can become a headache where they are hidden or an MSP maybe doesn't know about that. With Bitwarden, you are able to enforce that policy for that central ownership. So repeat that across all of your client accounts. You can see what a big headache it can become if you don't have everything tidy and secure. And especially in those co-managed environments, both sides need to trust that the process and the access stays clean.
Okay, so any customer's credentials are extremely sensitive, right? So if I'm an MSP, why should I trust Bitwarden with something so sensitive as my client's credentials?
Yeah, Dave, this is my favorite question. Trust isn't something that you can just claim. It really has to be earned in the open. Bitwarden has been founder led since 2016. And from day one, we made the decision that a lot of security companies wouldn't make. We open sourced our code. What this means is that anyone, security researchers, technology enthusiasts, professionals who audit software for a living, they can look directly at how we are built. There's nowhere for vulnerability to hide quietly. And we're not asking anyone just to trust our word. We are inviting that scrutiny. And that's been true for a decade now. We've also stayed active in the community that holds us accountable. This community is who reviews our code, who reports issues, who pushes us to be better. And so for an MSP who's putting their name behind a recommendation to their customer, this kind of transparency matters. You're not just trusting Bitwarden, you are trusting a process that's been open to the public the entire time.
Okay, great. So will we see you at the MSP Summit in September?
Yes, I am so excited to be there. And I've got some friends of mine here at Bitwarden that will be coming. And so I am so excited to connect with current partners, future partners, and really show them what Bitwarden's all about. We will be demoing our product. We'll have some technical resources there as well to really dive into the thick of it. So looking forward to connect with everybody.
Great, coming and bringing friends. You like to
Yes,
hear.
yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Tresca, and we hope to see all of you watching this at the MSP Summit, September 28th to the 30th in Orlando. So we will see you all then. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.